successful operations by the Ukrainian army. 8,250 Russian tanks have been destroyed since February 24, 2022. Russian fighter pilots are afraid to fly over Ukrainian territory because of Ukraine's improved air defense systems. Like this video if you want Ukraine to shoot down more Russian jets. Since the beginning of the Russian invasion, the Russians have been carrying out attack operations against Ukrainian targets with their fighter jets. But these attacks have not been as successful as they thought. The Ukrainian army shot down hundreds of Russian planes, dealing a major blow to the Russians. The Russians lost more than 360 fighter jets and hundreds of important pilots. Using unmanned aerial vehicles and air defense systems, the Ukrainian defense forces shot down Russian planes one by one on the battlefield. The delivery of F-16s to Ukraine is very close. Ukrainian pilots have almost completed their training. Those who want the F-16s to be delivered to Ukraine immediately can like the video. Although the Ukrainian army is effective in ground operations and drone operations, its power in the region will increase significantly with the F-16s. The Ukrainian army has destroyed 361 Russian jets since the beginning of the war. What do you think about the Ukrainian army shooting down Russian warplanes? Ukraine has inflicted great losses on the Russian Black Sea Fleet with its operations. Like the video if you want the Ukrainian army to completely destroy the Russian Black Sea Fleet. The Russian army has lost more than 560,000 military personnel since the start of the war. Putin was completely wrong when he thought he could inflict casualties on Ukraine with his navy's fierce operations in and around Crimea. The Ukrainian military destroyed many Russian ships in the Black Sea in and around Crimea, and today Ukraine has largely ended Russian domination in Crimea. The Russians are no longer as strong as they used to be in the Black Sea. Ukraine's counter-strike operations shocked the Kremlin and the Russian Black Sea Fleet. Several Russian ships were destroyed, including the MAGURA V5 unmanned naval vessel, the reconnaissance ship Ivan Khurs, the landing ship Akula and Serna, the missile ship Ivanovets. The large landing ship Tsezar Kunikov were destroyed in operations with the MAGURA V5. With these losses, the Russian Navy lost power and prestige. Since the beginning of the war, Russia has lost 28 warships and boats. These losses were unexpected for Russia. Russian leader Vladimir Putin did not give up his offensive against Ukrainian positions and witnessed the exhaustion of the Russian army. If you want Russia to lose and Ukraine to defend its territory, you can help Ukraine by liking this video. In more than 2 years of war, Russia has lost more than 560,000 military personnel. Russia continues to lose power on Ukrainian territory day by day. Thanks to the right strategies implemented by the Ukrainian army, the Russian offensive has been greatly weakened. The Ukrainian army is strengthening its defense blocks and developing new strategies. Ukraine's clever plans are catching the Russians by surprise. Ozilo has confirmed that the Russian army has lost 980 military personnel on the front line in the past day. The Russians continue to lose to the Ukrainian army by making wrong decisions on the front line. The strength of the Russian army is weakening day by day, losing over 1,000 soldiers every day. We will continue to report daily on the losses of military personnel and equipment of the Russian army. The Russian army is losing more and more troops and equipment in the occupied Ukrainian territory every day. Those who want Russia to suffer more losses can help Ukraine by liking the video. Ukraine's operational successes in recent days have greatly increased Russian losses. The current losses of the Russian army are as follows: 564,620 military personnel, 361 fighter jets, 326 helicopters, 8,250 tanks, 15,902 armored combat vehicles, 15,520 artillery systems, 894 air defense systems, 1,120 multiple rocket launchers, 20,909 vehicles and fuel tankers, 28 ships and boats, 12,316 tactical unmanned aerial vehicles, 2,401 cruise missiles, 2,593 special vehicles and other equipment. Strategies developed by the Ukrainian army hunt down Russian air defense systems. Those who want to see Russian air defense systems completely destroyed should like the video. The destruction of so much equipment on the front line is a huge loss for the Russian economy. The Ukrainian army received a large amount of military equipment from its allies, and with Zelensky's support, the troops on the front line resisted the Russian army, inflicting heavy losses on the Russians. Ukraine's long-range, state-of-the-art missiles, which are very dangerous for Russian forces both air and ground, continue to hit Russian positions and equipment. Russian leader Vladimir Putin did not expect Ukraine to receive so much military support and for the war to last so long. The Ukrainian army has neutralized more than 500,000 Russian soldiers and destroyed thousands of pieces of Russian equipment. The Ukrainian army is using its powerful missile systems very cleverly and effectively to hunt down Russian air defense systems. Since the beginning of the war, the Ukrainian army has destroyed 894 Russian air defense systems with long-range missiles. What do you think about Ukraine's accurate shooting down of Russian air defense systems? Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky gave the good news about the F-16s that millions of people who support Ukraine are waiting for. Zelensky announced that the Polish government has taken a decision to accelerate the delivery of F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine. The Ukrainian leader met with Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk at the European Political Community Summit in the UK. We have received a positive decision from the Polish government on a specific issue that will allow Ukraine to receive F-16 jets earlier, Zelensky said after the meeting. Zelensky thanked Tusk and Poland for this decision. Polish media suggest that the decision could be linked to arranging the delivery of the fighter jets or addressing logistical issues. On July 10, US, Danish and Dutch leaders Joe Biden, Mette Frederiksen and Dick Scoff announced that Ukraine would receive its first F-16s this summer. Ukraine expects to receive 6 F-16s this summer and 20 aircraft by the end of the year. Russian President Vladimir Putin has no commented on these developments. Even though these developments are pleasing for Ukraine, Western countries need to support Ukraine more in this war. Do you think Western countries' support for Ukraine is enough? We are waiting for your opinions. The Ukrainian army continues to inflict terrible losses on the Russian army with offensive operations using air defense systems and long-range cruise missiles. The Ukrainian army is disrupting the plans of the Russian army thanks to the right strategies it applies. According to the latest developments, despite the difficult situation on the front line, the Ukrainian army has achieved a very important success. Ukrainian troops shot down a Russian Su-25 fighter jet that attempted to attack the positions of Ukrainian defense forces on the Pokrovsk front. The Kortitsia Operational Strategic Force